They say time is the most valuable currency. But what they don't tell you is that it's not time itself. It's what you do with time when everyone else is done. One more hour. That's all it takes to separate the ones who wish from the ones who win. Not 5 years. Not 10,000 hours. One more hour when it's inconvenient. One more hour when it's easier to quit. One more hour when your excuses feel justified. One more hour is when champions are born. Not in the crowd, not in the moment of applause, but when the stadium is empty, when the sun is down, when nobody's watching and nobody's clapping, when it's just you and a choice, quit or stay one more hour. The power of one more hour isn't in the minutes, it's in what the hour represents. It's proof. Proof that you are willing to pay the price when the transaction feels invisible. Proof that you trust in long-term returns when short-term comfort would be so much easier. Carnegie stayed one more hour refining ideas when his peers were resting. Ford stayed one more hour testing machines others had already declared failures. Disney stayed one more hour sketching dreams when the world said he had none. One more hour is the dividing line. It's the hour that builds grit, character, and an identity forged in private before it's respected in public. It's where your voice becomes louder than your doubts, and your habits begin to outfight your fears. You say you want success? That's good. But how much do you want it after everyone else has left the room? It's easy to work when you're motivated. It's easy to move when you're inspired. But the game changes when the fire dies, and all that's left is discipline. The cold, hard, unsexy discipline of staying when quitting feels logical. One more hour isn't about hustle porn, it's about identity. Because the person you become in that hour, that's the one who shows up tomorrow with confidence. That's the one who walks into rooms knowing they've done the work. That's the one who doesn't bluff ambition, they bleed proof. That 1 hour, it's where champions train their spirit while everyone else is scrolling. And let's be clear, it's not about more work. It's about focused, intentional, undistracted work. 1 hour of clarity beats 5 hours of chaos. 1 hour of depth beats 10 hours of busy. Most people are exhausted, not because they're overworked, but because they're scattered. They're everywhere but present. They touch everything but finish nothing. But the one who stays 1 more hour with intention, that person changes the game. That person sees what others miss. That person builds something others call talent, but it wasn't talent. It was time, leveraged with discipline. Discipline is the muscle that grows in that extra hour. Belief is the fuel that ignites in that extra hour. Vision is the map you redraw in that extra hour. And here's the truth most won't tell you. You're not behind, you're not too late. You just haven't made the shift yet. The shift from hoping for change to engineering it hour by hour, brick by brick. You don't need more time. You need more ownership. You need to stop waiting for perfect and start building with consistent, imperfect progress. You think giants rise in leaps? No, giants rise in inches. Every extra hour is an inch. Every night you choose purpose over pleasure is an inch. Every morning you rise with focus while others hit snooze is an inch. And inches add up to legacy. That's what this is about. Not just getting more done, not just hitting some goal, but becoming a person who cannot be denied, whose presence carries the quiet weight of someone who put in the extra hour, who fought for mastery when nobody was watching. So the question is not, do you want it? The real question is, will you stay when the applause stops? Will you write 1 more page? Will you make 1 more call? Will you revise the plan when it breaks? Will you forgive 1 more time? Will you train when the gym is empty? Will you stay 1 more hour when the world tells you to quit? Because that 1 hour, that's the difference. That hour is where the old you dies and the new you emerges. Where the quitter gets silenced and the finisher gets fed, where fear takes a seat and vision takes the wheel, where the talk ends and transformation begins. Because the truth is, you don't need more motivation, you need more reps, more time doing what you said you would do long after the mood you said it in has left. You need to stop chasing feelings and start chasing standards. You raise your standard in the quiet hour. You meet your future self in the quiet hour, not on stage, not in celebration, but in the darkness where you forge light. Every empire started with one more hour. Every breakthrough was born from one more hour. Every story worth telling began when someone just like you decided that good enough was not their ceiling. You are not average. You are not here to repeat yesterday. You are here to do the hard thing. You are here to lead yourself. You are here to stay the hour. 1 hour, oh, that's all it takes. Stay with it. One more time. One more rep. One more email. One more brushstroke. One more revision. One more choice that makes you stronger. Because eventually, one more becomes forever, and the world will ask you how you built all this, the confidence, the skill, the success, the fire, and you'll say, 1 hour at a time, the power of one more hour. Will you stay one more hour when the world tells you to quit? Because that 1 hour, that's the difference. This is the price. 1 hour, over and over and over. And most won't pay it, not because they can't, but because they don't see the return right away. They're addicted to dopamine, to comfort, to applause. But long-term builders, they're addicted to purpose, to consistency, to meaning. They fall in love with showing up. They become obsessed with execution. And they know deep in their bones that if they show up, the win will come. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it will come. Because how could it not? How could hours, stacked with intention, discipline, and intensity, not yield something extraordinary? Look around you. Every skyscraper, every empire, every masterpiece started as hours no one saw. The Mona Lisa wasn't painted in passion. It was painted in layers, revisions, hours, quiet hours. So what are you painting? What are you building when no one is watching? And are you willing to give it 1 more hour? Because that's where vision becomes reality. Not in the mind, but in the minutes. In the sweat, in the stillness. You'll be tempted to stop. You'll convince yourself it's not worth it, that you've done enough, that no one will know the difference. But you will know, and you are the most important audience you'll ever have. That's why 1 more hour matters. It teaches you to stop performing for the crowd and start performing for your future self. It's not about speed, it's about direction. It's about making each hour sacred, intentional, valuable, so that over time, your life becomes a living statement of your standard. Not your schedule, your standard, and that standard is revealed in how you treat the extra hour. Do you scroll it away? Do you numb it with noise? Or do you lean in and work with precision? Precision is rare. Focus is rare. Follow-through is rare. And that's why success is rare, but not unreachable. It's right here, in this hour, in this moment, in this decision. You don't have to predict the next 10 years. You don't need a roadmap for your legacy. You just need to own this hour, this choice, this commitment. You are not defined by how many hours you have. You are defined by what you do when the world says, clock out. But you stay with the craft. You stay with the goal. You stay with the habit. You stay with the person you promised you'd become. Because that 1 more hour, that's where everything turns. 1 more hour isn't a number on the clock, it's a threshold. It's the invisible line that divides those who wish from those who will. It's where the old version of you fights to survive and the future you claws to emerge. And every time you cross that line, every time you stay just one more hour, you make a statement to the universe. I'm not going back, not to old habits, not to comfort zones, not to the version of me that gave up when it got uncomfortable. That hour is where your name gets written, not on paper, not on plaques, but in your own bones, because it becomes part of who you are. You start to see yourself as the person who finishes, who fights, who forges forward when it would be easier to fade, and that's when the magic starts to happen. You stop hesitating. You stop waiting for approval. You stop negotiating with your lesser self, and you start walking different because you know what most never will, that the world is built by those who endure boredom, repetition, and resistance with consistency. Edison didn't invent the light bulb on a good day. He found it after 1,000 failures in the extra hours. Van Gogh didn't paint beauty because he was free from pain, but because he channeled it in the quiet. Kobe didn't become great on the court. He became great in empty gyms, hours before sunrise. What makes them different? Not talent, not genius, not luck. It was how they used the hour that others wasted. That's the brutal, beautiful truth. If you're willing to use the hour, to shape it like clay, to wield it like a blade, to own it like your life depends on it, you will become what others only talk about. While they're still planning, you're producing. While they're still thinking, you're creating. While they're still doubting, you're stacking proof. Because momentum isn't born from strategy, it's born from showing up. One more hour is the brick. You don't build the castle in one day. You just place that brick with precision. And if you do that enough times, the tower will rise. The foundation will hold. And one day, people will call it brilliance. But you'll know it was grit, the kind built when no one was watching, when the results weren't clear, when motivation had left, but you hadn't. That's how you win in this world. Not with noise, not with flair, but with quiet, dangerous discipline, the kind that sharpens your edge until life makes space for you. Because the world doesn't move for those who ask nicely. It moves for those who refuse to move back. You don't ask permission to build, you build. And if the hour gives you space, you take it. If it doesn't, you make it. Because legacy doesn't wait for perfect timing. It's built in the margins, in the slivers, in the just one more. One more rep, one more call, one more idea, one more page, one more painful, quiet, lonely hour where the only applause is internal. And that internal applause, that's all that matters. Because one day you'll look in the mirror and you won't see someone who needs motivation. You'll see someone who creates momentum. You'll become a person with gravity. People will feel it in your presence, that unshakable stillness that only comes from proving yourself to yourself. You want respect? Respect your hour. You want freedom. Master your hour. You want to lead. Lead yourself when no one else is watching. And if you do, the world will notice. Not because you shouted, but because your results did. Because the results don't come in a flash. They come in accumulation, in layers, in discipline, stacked hour after hour. You want to change your life? Don't change everything. Just start with one more hour every day until discipline becomes identity, until habit becomes instinct, until success is no longer a dream but a standard. They won't understand you at first. They'll say you're obsessed, too intense, too focused, too different. Let them, because obsession is just another word for alignment, and when you align your actions with your purpose, the world will try to pull you back not because you're wrong, but because your presence makes others confront their own hesitation. But you're not here to shrink. You're here to show what's possible. And when people ask how you became so consistent, when they ask how you stayed sharp, how you built confidence, how you broke through, you'll smile, not because it was easy, but because you know the truth. It wasn't some secret, it wasn't some gift, it was one more hour. And every time you chose it, you leveled up, not in public, not online, but in your soul. Because self-respect is the true scoreboard, and every extra hour was a point earned. So when the doubt comes, and it will remember, the hour is still yours. The path is still open, and the door to your next level only opens with one key effort. When effort feels unreasonable, stay in the room. When your mind screams to leave, stay. When comfort calls, ignore it. When fatigue claws at your vision, look past it. One more hour. That's where the next version of you is waiting. The one who doesn't second guess, the one who doesn't apologize for ambition, the one who leads with fire and lands with impact. Not loud, not flashy, but grounded, focused, certain. Because when you do what you said you would do, when no one is watching you earn something no one can give you, certainty, and certainty creates movement. It commands attention. It inspires others to rise. You don't need to preach it. You don't need to explain it. You just need to live it. Hour after hour, choice after choice, until you become the kind of person whose life proves the philosophy without ever saying a word. And maybe, one day, someone will watch you and wonder how you did it. And they'll expect some grand breakthrough, some lucky break, some magic moment. But you'll know better. You'll know it wasn't a moment. It was a muscle. It was the quiet hour, the focused hour, the one you gave yourself every single day when it would have been easier to walk away. Because in a world obsessed with speed and spectacle, you chose something better. Depth, precision, mastery, and you earned it 1 hour at a time. That's how mountains are moved. That's how momentum is built. That's how greatness is carved from the inside out. So the next time you feel behind, the next time you doubt your pace, the next time the world feels overwhelming and scattered, remember this: you don't have to do everything. You just have to do 1 more hour. Stay with it. Honor it. Guard it like your future depends on it. Because it does. That 1 hour, that's where your life changes. Not in a year, not in 5, in the next 60 minutes of relentless, intentional, fully owned action. So breathe in, set your focus, and begin. 1 more hour, 1 more level, 1 more step toward becoming unstoppable. That's the power. That's the edge. That's the shift. 1 more hour and the world will never forget who you chose to become. That's the power of 1 more hour. The power to become undeniable